Welcome to selfdiscoverywisdom.com, formerly known as Self-Discovery Media. On these podcasts, you're going to hear people who speak from the heart. They've taken the journey in life. Many things have happened to them, but they've changed it to happening for them. And in their strength, their courage, they've discovered their abilities and their wisdom, and they are now sharing it here with you. Do enjoy each show. We bring it to you with love and knowing that it's going to help you on your journey of life. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Choose Positive Living right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and my guest is Shawna James today. Life in Flow. Where's the magic? She's an advocate for inner wisdom and vibrational healing, but she's on a magical journey right now. She's in limbo, in transition, and she's waiting for the universe to show her where to go. And sometimes we just need to be still, to be quiet, to actually understand what it is and where it is we need to be. She says, magic, life is full of it. For years, it's in the corporate world, her teams and would hear me repeat in my mantra, I have a magic wand and I know how to use it. That was true, though at a level she didn't yet realize. And until a life-altering encounter with COVID-19 changed her trajectory and had her doubting everything that she thought she knew, she found herself compelled to embrace stillness in her healing journey, discovering the true healing resonates at the level of frequency. While we've been taught the importance of daily nutrition and health of our bodies, we must not forget we're not merely physical beings. The question then arises, what kind of nutrition are we providing for our mental, emotional, energetic, and spiritual health? As we are surrounded by frequencies and energies, it is the rising of our vibration to a level of harmony, resonance with high frequencies that contribute to our fullest expansion. Now, more than ever, we are awakening to the inherent power. The daily practices we adopt are not just routine and self-care. It's not merely a luxury. They are keys to unlocking our latent potential, allowing us to wield the magic that lies within with profound clarity and intention. Oh, yes, my dear, you are singing my choir here. We're so busy doing life that we forget about being. And if we could step into the beingness of who we are, then we actually understand what we need to do. Welcome.
So nice to be with you, Sarah.
So that lovely moment where you realize I actually am magical, that everything around us is magic. You know, it's like looking at it through the lens of gratitude and wonderment. And you don't need to actually understand how the magic works. It's just tapping in to that beautiful wave and taking the ride. When did that happen for
Absolutely.
you?
So I've always had a spiritual background. I was, as a youth, very religious. I was raised in a very religious family, one in which was kind of beyond normal religion. It was a very strict upbringing
Mm-hmm.
and a very limited scope of the world. And
As most
basically,
religions
when
are.
you look when you look back at the videos of my growing up, all you hear is Shawna, no, Shawna, stop
Mm,
it, Shawna, don't, Shawna, be quiet. And so I was a supernova packed
mm,
into this little box.
mhm.
And everything I loved doing as I would experience life, I was made to give up.
Ah,
And so there was a point late in my 20s where I'm like, I don't believe this anymore.
good.
This doesn't feel like it's how life was intended to be. And then I started having all of these drop ins, these magical little gifts of
Mhm.
knowledge, these clara cognizant moments where you just really experienced a message that you
Yeah.
knew was something other
Yes.
than
Yes.
what's happening. So I started to pay attention to those and write them down. But I was still very much in corporate America.
Mhm.
I did leave the church of my upbringing, which meant I lost my entire family
Wow.
overnight because I was such a devoted individual in the church. I had gone to their world headquarters. I had served around the globe for them. And when I made the decision, I knew it took me about 3 years to make the decision. When I made the decision, I knew it meant starting over.
Mhm.
And thankfully, the universe by that time had guided me to a few magic people in my life. So I had some tethers in a world that was of love and spirit. But then fast forward another decade, and I ended up getting very, very sick with COVID.
Mm.
And my body stopped doing things normally.
Mm.
My body stopped being able to process information the same way. My mind started kind of forcing myself to stay in a fog for long periods of time. And at first, I was bothered by it because I was a director at a commercial real estate investment firm. I
Mhm.
had a big job. I was doing important things. And all of a sudden, I realized I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
My body doesn't work the same way anymore. My
Mhm.
mind's not working the same way anymore. So I took off a couple of weeks. I told my CEO, I need to recalibrate. And little did I know that basically what that would turn into is 2 years of me needing to be still.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so my body pummeled me, which was the greatest blessing. I know
Mhm.
I I often have felt for most of my adult life that every big thing that happens to us that we call
Yes.
negative, scary, harsh
Mhm.
is our greatest gift.
Yes.
When has that not been true for somebody?
Exactly. Exactly. And it's only in
Uh,
hindsight that they know the truth,
Correct.
right? Mhm.
But how exciting if we could start putting it in our
Mm.
foresight.
Yes. Yes.
How exciting if we could start looking at the things that come to us and be like, bring it on. I know it's
Mm.
happening for me.
Mm.
So at
Mm.
the first moment when we start to feel that edginess of concern that this doesn't feel like it's going the right way, instead of fear rising up, we recognize life affords us the people, the places, and the opportunities to learn our next great lesson.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I call it the nudge, nudge, wink, wink, cosmic two by floor. And you had the nudge, nudge, like this
Whisper.
religion's not for me, the wink, wink, come on, this way. And you kind of left but you went still into kind of a more of a job you knew, management, etc. Right? Even though I'm out of religion now, I'm my own boss, but I'm still stepping into that world of
Mm-hmm.
kind of the management. And then it was like, nah, you didn't get the message. Here's a cosmic two by four. All right. We want you to start from the seed up
Mm-hmm.
and step into your knowingness. You know what the knowingness is. And the reason why it's not coming to you is because you've brought on the fog by taking the wrong path. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
so I would love people who get I've got one person I'm interviewing, and she calls it the cosmic bitch, which I think is a great comment to her, but I call it the cosmic two by four. When when we're not quite getting the message, or we're not getting there quick enough, and it is a blessing. At the time, we go, why? I thought I was on the right path. I thought I was making the
Mm-hmm.
right decision. Why? Why are you making this so difficult for me? Why am I swimming through molasses? Right? And then you kind of
Mm-hmm.
get the other side. Oh, my skin's pretty good from that molasses.
Mm-hmm.
I slowed down. I paid more
Mm-hmm.
attention to where I am. I paid
Mm-hmm.
more attention to my surroundings. I paid more attention to my inner self. I paid more
Mm-hmm.
attention to what brought a smile to my face, what warmed my heart, what lifted my spirit. And sometimes
Mm-hmm.
the rug has to be pulled from beneath us for us to stop and pay attention.
Absolutely. And that's been the story kind of everybody's life, but in my own, I when I would start getting these, they felt big, like
Mm-hmm.
big aha moments
Mm-hmm.
where I'd get this little golden nugget of thought that just wouldn't leave me. And one of them was a very clear understanding, even before I left the church, that we have a series of lessons we're here to learn.
Yes.
Things that we even before I knew we chose our little life plan, even before some of the awareness I have now, I knew that there were things in our life that we could learn easy or
Mm-hmm.
hard. The choice was ours.
Mm-hmm.
Whether this is whether this is done in suffering or whether it's done in learning, whether it's done in big, colossal mistake or gift of gratitude, had everything to do with how we were able to be. And so I always built that into my experience. But when I got sick and was really stopped and slowed down, then what I had was about 2 years where I basically had only enough energy to get up for maybe a few hours each day.
Mhm.
And in those few hours, I'd literally ask, what do I need to know today? I
Yes.
thankfully kept getting guided
Hmm.
to really profound teachers,
Hmm.
mentors, healers.
Hmm.
It was such a magical journey. And
Yes.
I, my whole life, I couldn't journal to save my life. I'd
Hmm.
start a journal, get 3 to 10 pages in, put it away, and not see it for 5 years,
Yeah. Yes.
or on the first of every year. And what I ended up happening at the beginning of this, when I opened that up, I've I literally journaled probably in the first year 12 journals. I
Mm,
just couldn't stop writing. The
right.
things I
Downloading.
It
Hmm.
felt like somebody had grabbed my
Yeah.
shoulders and say, this video, this
Hmm.
podcast, this
Hmm.
healer, this modality, this teacher, this, and it just was one tool belt enhancement after the other. And for somebody who's a very, like I said, I was in corporate America, I was
Hmm.
very driven, very successful. When I would get to the practices that I put in place of honoring myself and listening in, I, my human self, my 3D self was still really nervous. Like,
Right.
okay,
Right.
but what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
What,
Yeah.
what job am I supposed to, what am I supposed to do next?
Yes.
And even though I had had the drop in that by 50, I'd be well on my path, and I'm now 51. um, I couldn't tell what it was in the beginning of this period post COVID, and I would get nervous. And so I would ask the universe, please give me a sign, show
Yeah.
me. And deep in meditation, the answer was always the same, just be. You're
Yes.
doing it. You're
Yes.
doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. And I was like, but it makes no
It
sense.
doesn't have to.
My brain can't wrap around that.
Get the brain out of it.
But that was the key. That
Yes.
was the key,
Go
was to
think,
really,
feel.
that's right.
Mhm.
And so then the journey for me became embodiment. What are
Yeah.
those practices? What are those little things that I am being led to? These aha moments, these
Hmm.
golden nuggets that are uniquely brought to me.
Hmm.
And the people that I was brought to, and the magic of the moments that I was
Yes.
brought to them,
Yes.
it just was this unfolding. So after about 2 years, knowing I wasn't going back to corporate America, finally listening, I would ask, give me a sign. One beautiful mentor gave me the golden nugget. Ask for signs you can enjoy.
Mm. Mm.
Because otherwise signs will come,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Be very
but they may
clear what
not be
you ask the
magical.
universe for, right? Yeah, exactly. Be very specific because, I always say that, people demand something and expect an Amazon delivery from the universe. It is, you want to tell the universe how you want to feel, not what
That's
you
right.
want, how you want to
That's
feel.
right.
And, I want to feel joy. I want to feel abundance. I want to feel to be in service. I want to feel sanctuary. When you give the universe that, it will give you that platform. It's then how to get out of head to recognize the gift you've just been given. And
That's correct.
you 100% agree with you. The the human 3D and the spiritual. I was born a spiritual being, a multi-dimensional traveler right from the word go. And I couldn't understand why nobody else could see what I could see or experience what I was experiencing. And then this feeling, oh my God, I'm so different, being ostracized because I'm different,
Mm-hmm.
made to feel small and that you don't
Mm-hmm.
count because you don't fit into what the norm is. But that norm isn't working for you. Why are you doing it? And
That's
then
exactly right.
trying to be into that norm and then feeling distorted within myself because I didn't fit into that norm. And how can you make this fit everybody? It's uncomfortable. And
That's
then
right.
made myself uncomfortable for years, trying
Hmm.
to fit in, to please everyone else, not to rock the boat, when my
Hmm.
soul and my spirit was saying, you know what you were put here to do.
Hmm.
Here's a
Exactly.
few cosmic two by fours. How many is it going to take until you get there, right? And then
That's exactly right.
finally giving up on the voice, right?
Hmm.
The voice doesn't come from the head. The voice comes from the knowingness. It's whatever
Hmm.
you are channeling through your soul, that divineness, wisdom, I call it, that then
Hmm.
resonates with your heart in truth, that your
Hmm.
spirit knows how to take into action, and for the mind to know what the mind needs to know when the mind needs to know it. And then
Correct.
it just is,
Correct.
just is.
That
How do you know
same,
that? Why do you know that? What do you want to do with it? No, it just is.
it just is. And that was the same person who gave me, she's like a fairy godmother. She's
Hmm.
like a spiritual mentor. And one of the other things that she opened up for me is the belief that they're constantly ready to jump in.
Yes.
They there is no separation. This whole act that we put on
Hmm.
like we don't know,
Hmm.
and that we're not connected to
Hmm.
endless knowledge, and that in the instant moment we can't call it in,
Right.
is all an optical illusion as
Total.
we as we dance into what our true
Yes.
masterpiece of existence is. And
Yes.
it's funny because I've always felt, I remember when I started listening to channelers
Mm.
and started to really take in wisdom that came from many other sources, including that most important source, the internal.
Hmm.
What I started to recognize was that we have the ability to plug in every moment. We're never unplugged.
No, there's
We're
a
never
generator
unplugged.
perpetually going.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we have the ability to be in flow. But if we don't live in the now,
Hmm.
then the choices that we're making can get a little pollution
Yes.
in them.
Yes.
It's only when we make
Hmm.
decisions in this now moment that we're clear enough and we stay clear enough to know. So it's that first inclination, right?
Yes.
It's that very first thing. It's not when the mind jumps in 2 seconds after and says, but
Yeah.
maybe not.
But sit on your butt. That's the only thing you
That's
do with your
right.
butt.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So I've been, what my husband and I decided to do, my partner in life, is we looked at each other maybe about a year and a half ago now, and we said, I think it's time we sell the house.
Hmm.
We both knew it. We had no real plan of what was happening next.
Hmm.
And in the course of the year it took to finally put the house on the market and sell it, we still didn't know,
Yeah.
but we knew we had to.
First step.
We that
Hmm.
was And it was just take the next
Hmm.
right action. That was
Hmm.
the lesson there.
Yeah.
Just take the next right action. Don't worry about the whole picture.
No.
Just take the next obvious action. And so that's when life became that.
Hmm.
So we put the house on the market. It sold in divine timing, exactly when it was supposed to. It freed us up to get mobile.
Hmm.
We had a plan B. So we had a place and a this as our thought of where we were going.
Hmm.
But we both committed to the fact that we were ready now to let spirit, source,
Yes.
the greater divine in us lead us. And so now I regularly ask for signs I can enjoy
Hmm.
so that each day I wake up, if we're pulled in a direction, we know it's one that we're supposed to be pulled
Yeah.
in. And that's meant a lot of getting used to. We literally not only sold our house, but nearly everything in it.
Hmm.
We blessed the family who purchased the home. They were new first time home buyers, first time parents, and they were service men and women for our country.
Hmm.
And so, not that I either here or there believe in being a
Right.
galactic person,
Yes.
but
Yes.
um, we did bless them, and it freed us up. The amount of energy that leaves
Yeah.
the body
Yeah.
when you stop tethering yourself to things that are not necessary is one of the most profound gifts that we
Hmm.
found we gave ourselves. We
I,
packed 2 suitcases in a car.
right. Exactly. But you had, a whole world to travel. It's like,
Mm-hmm,
where next? I mean,
mm-hmm,
I've done this in the last few years. Finally, my pets died. I didn't have children at home anymore.
mm-hmm,
It was now my time. And, my son, oh, you're running away from yourself. I said, no, I'm exploring.
mm-hmm,
I'm
mm-hmm.
exploring. And I went up to Toronto where my daughter was because I'm in Canada. And I didn't last, -36s are not for me, but it was kind of what I needed to sever the past so I
Yes.
could choose my future. And I always wanted to come to the island, Vancouver Island, and I knew I needed to go there. And I just went. And the first 6 months I was in a place that wasn't very nice. And then I went to live with this woman who was, what, 85 at the time. And I thought, I'm only here
Mm-hmm.
temporarily and I'm still there. This 2024 is finally, I will be tethering myself because my daughter has two babies. She needs help with the babies.
Mm,
She's going back to work. One of the children has Down syndrome and it's harder to find daycare. So I'm going to be there to look after him. And I waited into 66 to become a grandmother, so I am going to enjoy that experience. So I'm looking
bravo.
forward to finally tethering because I have been flapping in the wind. But
Mm-hmm.
what I now realize, and you'll get there when you get there, is it's okay to have roots because my roots will be strong. My trunk is thick through experience of life, and my willow tree, I've got so many branches and they can weather any storm, right?
Correct.
And that's the thing, is that it's not like everybody go and be a nomad, but be free of the roots until you find that soil and reason to root for, because then you're in the
Exactly.
right pasture, you're in the right orchard. I have another company called the Orchard of Wisdom. People say, why do you call it that? And I said, because the orchard is filled with wisdom from trees that have been there for so long. And I do believe trees talk to us.
Oh,
Um,
they are
absolutely.
dear friends of mine.
Exactly. And the rustle of the leaves and how they really lift your spirit and get deep down in there, how they communicate with each other is a
Mm-hmm.
great lesson on how we need to communicate with each other ourselves. Um, but it's all about, I've taken the journey you're in right now, and I'm now ready for that next step because I was given 6 years ago an image of where I was meant to take self-discovery wisdom
Mm,
and all that I was meant to do. And I'm a
mm,
person that I'll create a graphic as my template. And I've tried for the years, is it with this person? Is it with that person? And it was no, no, no. And then
mm-hmm.
finally, this year, I decided to do our Forgotten Children's book series, which is an anthology on children and how we need to change the way we raise them because we're raising dysfunctional adults. So we're not raising beautiful divine souls that are here to be a part of the healing of the world. And everything came together just like
Mm,
that. Everything came
mm-hmm.
together. I've written my own memoir, which came out this week. I'm in two other books as an anthology. The mentorship program is going, that's going, and it's everything that the image that they gave me 6 years ago, or almost 6 years ago, is now tick, click, click, click coming into place.
Mm-hmm.
When
Mm-hmm.
we get the visions, and if they don't happen straight away, that doesn't mean they're wrong.
That's right.
What it means is that you need to take the journey to be where you need to be, inside and out, in
That's
order
right.
to meet the tribe that you're going to be doing that vision with.
That's
And
right.
you're on that beautiful wonderment journey right now of where am I meant to go? I am the branches on the tree trunk right now, flowing in the wind, and I don't know where my seeds are going to land, which is exciting.
It
But
is.
but when you follow the inside out, it will lead you to where you're meant to be.
Well, and what's so exciting about the journey is I've been, even though this would be considered a transition point, I've always stayed connected to the tools that I picked up along the way.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
I've had years of executive coaching,
Yes.
years of business consulting. Before this call, I was on a strategy session with a company that's more heart driven,
Mm,
open, sold.
hmm
we're living in a time where everything we know is going to change.
Yes,
And
at
those of
last.
us who can learn the skills that
Mm,
help translate what
hmm
sovereign growth looks like, what allowing people to get comfortable, to start taking it easy on themselves.
hmm
Stop judging the journey, stop judging the
Yes,
moment.
yes.
You're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, exactly when you're supposed to be doing it.
hmm
There is nothing not happening correctly here. And one of the big things for me in that process was I've always been a teacher. Even in my early religious upbringing, I was utilized as a teacher. And so I've always felt like whether I was in corporate world, whether I was in a training module, whether I was in education, I was always supporting a teaching model. And what was very clear to me about 3 years ago is I literally, everything I thought I knew, everything that had given shape to everything in my life was gone.
hmm
And this is like the third or fourth iteration
hmm
of that happening.
hmm
And you stop and you ask yourself, then why did I spend so much time doing that? Or
Yes.
why was I given the gift to do that?
hmm
Or why did I learn that skill? Because where we're going, I don't think it's necessary. And yet all of
hmm
it has shown up in
hmm
every little way to be
hmm
a tool in the tool belt, to
Yes,
expand your ability to help people in the right moment in a
exactly.
way that they need, not the way I think they
No.
need. And that was the biggest learning for me is it's always going to show up that our journey is so sovereign, so uniquely ours.
Mm.
Yes, there's universal laws, but
Yes.
other than that, how we end up having to navigate our own awakening, our own
hmm
consciousness, our own journey, our own life is so unique that that's what we really need to learn how to listen to.
Yes.
And so
Yep.
when I was made mute, basically,
hmm
from
hmm
my former skill set for 2 or 3 years and forced only to listen, I began to realize there is an iteration of my service to the planet that doesn't
Yes.
require my words.
Uh-huh.
And that's a beautiful, amazing. It might. My
hmm
words might be called on from time to time. I might have opportunities like this, but there's other big opportunities from an energetic perspective
Exactly.
to support people's awakening, growth, consciousness, and the elevation of the timeline that we're moving into.
Yes.
That,
And that is, I'm saying we are the problem on the planet, but we're also the solution. And it is our choice. Here we are, choose
mhm,
positive living. It is our choice. But when we decide to feed today, and whatever we see today is what's going to grow tomorrow. So if we
that's
have
right.
weeds tomorrow, we know we planted the wrong seeds, right?
Hmm.
And you've got to remember
Hmm.
to nurture it and water, right? But we
Hmm.
don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. But if we
That's
really
right.
look after today, tomorrow will bring something even more extraordinary,
That's right.
right? And it's live in the moment. The gift of the present is in the now.
That's right.
Right? Now, that doesn't mean you can't have a vision, whether you're not given a vision of where you're going to go or what you're meant to do. And then
Hmm.
it's, well, how am I meant to do that? Where am I meant to do that? That's okay. All you need to know is that's what you're going to do.
That's right.
And it will be revealed along the way. People who need a manual to take their journey in life don't understand that there is that disconnect right away. It's a human manual.
That's right.
Let's look at the history of that human manual. Whom does it serve? I don't know anybody who's benefited from it.
No.
But those that become the explorers that live in the wonderment, I trust, whatever you are, I trust
Hmm.
this divine energy. You are my compass. You are
Hmm.
my generator. My heart is connected to you. My spirit
Hmm.
is open to be guided. My mind is open to hear what you have to say.
Hmm.
Then that wonderful one foot in front of the other,
That's
blind,
right.
deaf, and dumb in order to see, hear, and feel, is
That's right.
exciting.
It is.
It's revealing. It's wonderful. We've been conditioned to be fearful of it. Let that
Right.
fear go. That's a human concern. It's not a spiritual
Absolutely.
one. When you are in spirit, when you're at one, you are in trust. You are in faith because you
Mm-hmm.
know that the universe will not lead you astray as long as you stay true to the core of who you are and listen to your core. That's your guidance system.
Absolutely. And to keep that guidance system in pristine condition,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's where the daily practice came in.
yeah.
I was always, and again, a gift from my early upbringing was a recognition that there is something called spiritual nutrition too.
Oh God, yes, yes.
There's not just physical nutrition.
Mm-mm,
There's not just, and once we start recognizing our energy body,
mm-hmm,
showers aren't just for the physical body.
mm-mm.
Showers aren't to remove what's built up on our skin, but it's also to help flush out what's built up in our auras, in our energies, in our energy bodies. There's there's so many things that we need to do, being the argument is somewhere between 70 and 93% water,
Yeah, oh yes, yes.
that we need to do in order to recalibrate the
Mm-hmm,
electromagnetic field that we are.
mm-hmm,
And so there's things that you start to realize in the journey that are brought to you, whether it be crystals,
mm-hmm,
whether it be Reiki, whether it be whether it be just stillness each morning, whether it be a, a breath that helps settle the vagus nerve, 4 breaths in, 6 breaths out. There's so many tiny things that when we need it,
yes.
we're given these golden moments of knowledge that might just be literally, okay, breathe in 4, breathe out 6. They don't have to be grand and
No,
profound to be grand and profound.
no. Just take a breath. That's all you need to do in the moment. Just take a breath. You know,
That's right.
I speak all the time to pause. Pause.
I use that word all the time.
Right? It is why are we rushing? You know, I live
That's right.
right now with a 90-year-old who is a sprinter. She has been all her life. Everything is competitive. I've got to get
Mm-hmm.
to the finish line. And, you know, at 90, she still drives, she still cooks, she can still run,
Wow.
right? Showing little signs of fatigue now, but, you know, still got it. But for her, everything is about that competitive. I've got to get there. And I go, why?
Mm-hmm.
You know, why? But, you know, she's had loss. Her fiance was killed 4 days before the wedding.
Mm.
Her twin sister died. And then literally a few weeks later, she was 4 years in hospital with polio, right?
Wow.
Her mother developed an illness where she could not leave the house because she was grieving the other daughters and never came to see her. So she had
Mm.
that loss. But her father was one who so believed in faith, not necessarily religion, but faith, that he said, your leg is going to be the same length as ours. You're going to walk again. You're going to run. You're going to do everything. And remember, life is about joy. It's about a positive attitude. And she's like a child at Christmas all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's contagious because, you know, when you look at people where we've got so conditioned and bombardment with the news and with the, you know, interest rates going up, with everything costing so much, with, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, yes, this is what's happening to you. How are you going to make this redirect to happen for you? Right. And all these balls that you've got up in the air, it doesn't mean you have to juggle them all the time. Some of those balls could
Right.
stay up there and just deal with one at a time.
Right. Well, and I think the other thing is that people don't stop and actually listen in
No.
to what would bring them joy
Yes.
in this moment.
Yeah.
You know, I often have clients who will come to me, or friends or colleagues who will come to me, and they'll be talking about they can't figure out why. And I said, have you just gone and stood on the earth for a minute?
Yeah.
And sometimes I tell them, if you can't do it for 10 seconds.
Hmm.
It'll help disconnect whatever you're tethered to. Do
Yes.
it for 10 seconds. Or better yet, why don't you put your headphones in and listen to a song while
Hmm.
you dance barefoot with the trees?
Yes.
Like
Or out in
there's
the rain
so
with the rain running down your face. Yes. Yeah.
absolutely. And it's ironic that we live in a society that still is
Mm.
programmed to feel overwhelmed
Yeah.
in at doing anything for themselves. That's not by accident.
No,
That is unfortunately the remnants of a 3D design.
it is. It
And
is.
So when
Sacrifice of
I,
suffering instead
that's
of,
right.
service and joy, Yeah.
That's right. And so when we ask ourselves, what would bring me joy today?
Hmm.
If we
Hmm.
start our day just
Hmm.
including one item of joy, imagine how that would change in ripple effect across the planet. Everybody.
Yeah. Waking up with gratitude. I'm awake today. I have a day before
Hmm.
me. What day is this going to bring? Like, I know I've got
Exactly.
program shows. I know I've got to do X, Y, and Z. That's
That's right.
part of the platform that of the things that the mechanics of what you have to
Of
do.
course.
But those mechanics to go allow you to go and do the exuberance of what you do, the joy of
Hmm.
what you do. And it allows you because it set the stage for you to step into that. And if you
Hmm.
can find an hour a day of exuberant joy, not only
That's
are you
right.
feeding yourself, you're feeding everybody in your vicinity because your vibration, your frequency has risen.
That's right.
You're also feeding the planet. You're feeding the ether. And the more and more people that tap into that, why is there joy around here? Oh, this feels good in this area. I don't know what's going
Hmm.
on. What's going to come? Don't ignore those wonderful moments where you suddenly feel a twinge of joy. Grab
That's
onto
right.
it and go, okay, oh, I like this. What can I
Hmm.
do to live in the joy?
Exactly. It's why well before this last transition, I was given a drop in called a different normal.
Mm,
Like, you are about to live a different normal.
yes.
And I held that. I didn't know what it meant for many years.
Hmm.
I had glimpses because I had already incorporated so many things that people would consider quite not normal. But I ended up just letting it be.
Yeah.
When I would have I knew it. I created something around it, and then I just let it be
Yes. Let it
because
reveal.
the old Shawna
Hmm.
wanted to give it
Micromanage.
form and make it happen and and it's
Yes.
like, no, that's not what it's there for.
Yeah.
Just honor that it is and
Yeah.
move along. And that is the change that allows flow to
Yeah.
genuinely open for people.
Exactly. But
And
all of that you're talking about, all of, nothing that you've done in the past is a waste.
no,
There will be a time where all the abilities of what you did before in your previous careers now can be the structure and the building blocks of what else you're doing. Is that
correct.
we're inclined, if we've come from that world, to immediately want to build something without understanding what we're building. So
That's
it's
right.
okay, put the bricks down. You know
That's
how
right.
to do it. You know how to do it, and you will know when the time comes. But right now, understand your why and whom is it for.
Hmm. And if you plug into that every day,
Mm,
if that's your foundational piece that you
mhm.
can stay sturdy on, then all the rest won't matter.
Exactly.
And what is the most exciting part of living from a state of flow is you get to finally learn how to listen.
Yeah.
We were, when I started listening to channels several years back more regularly, because I had always, years and years ago, I had listened to Abraham Hicks and many of the ones, The Secret, all the things that we all saw. But when I started to listen to different channels, one of the things that became obvious was we are we are absolutely meant to learn how to take care of ourselves first.
Yeah.
We are so much more powerful than we realize. And I kept hearing that. We're so much more
Hmm.
powerful than we realize. And I'm like, wait a second. What does that mean? Like, they're making it sound like I can create anything.
Hmm.
And lo and behold, that's
Hmm.
exactly what it means.
Magic.
And and so I've and that's the joy of being
Yes.
in a life where you're plugged in, because you'll
Yeah.
get that. Like I used to say at corporate, I have a magic wand and I know how
Mm.
to use it.
Yes.
They loved that. I
Yes.
didn't even fully understand.
Right.
Yes, I recognized my ability to do so at the time, but it just keeps unfolding
Hmm.
into deeper and deeper layers of reality and truth that get more and more wonderment,
Yeah.
adventurous, and exciting as time progresses. And
Exciting.
that's
Yes.
why it's just those first steps
Hmm.
that work for you. Just do the first thing. Don't
One step in front
think
of the other. That's all. Just one step in
don't
front of
think
the
big
other.
picture. Just
Yeah.
do one
Yeah.
quality thing for yourself and watch what that unfolds.
A lot of it is go with your breath.
Mm-hmm.
Like each step with your breath, get into flow. Our oxygen in our body, our blood in our body, our energy in our body must be in flow. When it's not in flow, that's when the body breaks down. When the
That's right.
mind is not in flow, that's when it starts backing up and having a traffic jam. And that's when anxiety and depression and everything else, overload
Mm-hmm.
starts coming. It is about making sure we're in flow. Yes, 70-90% of our body is water. There was the Emoto test, water test, the three,
Mm-hmm.
and the gentleman that was his assistant, because he died, I've had on a couple of times where he's continued to, keep researching areas where the water is so pure, and this because of the area itself, for the people that are feeding
Mm-hmm.
the water and feeding themselves. So if we don't want our waters in our body to be contaminated,
Mm-hmm.
why are we allowing contamination in? And
That's
very
right.
often we don't realize we're on that treadmill because we're being so conditioned to be it. And
That's
if
right.
we're starting to feel uncomfortable, don't start feeling comfortable with being uncomfortable.
That's right.
Realize that no, 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 no. I've left this feeling. What is making me feel uncomfortable? I've got to make sure that that door is closed on that.
That's
And that
right.
the more I feel comfortable, the more abundant and enriched I am, the more
That's right.
purposeful I am, the more flow I am with earth and universe, and the more I'm in my knowingness, knowing what I need to do when I need to do it, so more I am in service. It's
Mm-hmm.
surrendering and allowing. And you're not giving up yourself, you're
That's
giving
right.
of yourself.
And I think that's the most beautiful part is I'm more me
Mm-hmm.
as a divine facet of source than I ever could have been when I was making choices from a very different place.
Yeah.
And so, what's exciting about the way life can be and is for all of us is that we have access to literally any form of magic that we want to experiment
Exactly.
with.
There is no
And
boundaries, there is no
there isn't,
restrictions, nothing. It's
there
it's just
isn't,
the flow is there.
and there, and that's a funny thing because I love, I'm very cerebral. I always have been. I've enjoyed being very cerebral.
Mm.
It lights me up to, I'm curious. I
Mm-hmm.
think curiosity is my superpower. And
Yes.
as a result, it's allowed me to experience things much deeper and
Mm-hmm.
more rapidly than most people. One of my favorite things to do is to get lost
Mm-hmm.
and just don't put on my GPS and figure out how I'm going to get home and see what unfolds in front of me.
Yes.
And that doesn't make us irresponsible.
No.
I think that's it's learning how these things actually make us more integrated, more ready for the now moment, more in observance of how our helper guides and
Mm-hmm.
our spirit guides are there to point us in new directions. And so we're living in a day where it is the absolute unlearning
Yeah.
in order
Yes.
to remember who we really are.
100%. 100%. And talk about getting lost. Of course, I'm 69. So, I remember before phones, folks, before GPS, before internet. Oh, I'm that old, right? The 70s was my travel time. And I would just go to a country and I initially had a hotel, but then I would get a car and I'd go somewhere and just explore. And yeah,
Mhm,
sometimes I kind of ended up going perhaps into some areas. I went into one area in Washington, D.C., and I was staying with a woman in Maryland. And I'd borrowed a car for the day to go in and have lunch with someone. And coming out, I took the wrong way. Um, and I stopped and asked these gentlemen, people of color, how to get back onto the highway. And all of a sudden, I noticed they had chains, and more of them kind of came out. And I thought I had lived in South Africa at that time. Got to make sure my South African accent doesn't come out. I'll just get my British and played the dizzy blonde. and I'm lost, and why are you in America? I love this country. I'm coming here to explore and da 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 da. And I met them on that human level. I met them on the spiritual level. I appealed to um, the hero inside of them, and saw them. I looked them dead in the eye, right? Not fear, not coward, looked them dead in the eye. And then they put me on the path. And when I got home, my friend was there with her friend who was a cop because they were
Mm.
worried about me. No phones to say I'm lost, I'll be late, right? I'm hours behind time. And he goes, "You were where? You did what?" He said, "The police don't even go down there. It's too dangerous. How come they didn't, rape and kill you and this and that?" And I said, "Because that's not what I presented."
That's right. I was resonating at a different frequency.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
right.
The only time it didn't work is when I was in South Africa going home, and I would walk down a hill to my place and people would drive up, and I would, like Star Wars, I'm not, these aren't the droids you're looking for. I would just say, I'm not the one you're looking for, right? The only
Hmm.
time it didn't work was somebody that was either very drunk or very high. And he
Hmm.
reversed his car all the way. I thought he was going to come smashing into the apartment building
Mm.
because there was nothing to channel in or to speak to then. And yes, you do. We're not saying just flap in the wind and not have caution. Listen to your caution. It will tell you. It's when
That's
your
right.
gut, your soul says, the core goes, no, don't do that. Don't go. But why? Give me a reason. No, just don't do it.
Just listen.
Just listen. Pay attention. Yeah, you
That's right.
don't have to have the universe prove anything of why. Get out of the head and why. Just trust. Just don't do it.
That's right. That's
Or
right.
do it
And
accordingly.
I was going to say that's equal to that. Sometimes
Yeah.
the answer is no.
Yes.
And that is the other part, is learning how to honor it when the answer is no. There's my as I explained, my partner and I are on this journey, and sometimes there's this antsiness that
Hmm.
will start to play when you feel like you're not doing. But one of the things that I feel so strongly about in my personal journey is don't force things when the
No,
answer is no.
no.
And don't think you know better than the universe.
Yeah.
It's
Uh-uh.
like if you haven't learned that lesson, and
You
if
will
you
learn.
don't listen, yeah, that's one of the ones that can learn hard if you don't
Mm.
learn that one easy.
Two
So,
cosmic two by fours. Yeah, yes.
yeah, those are not the
No,
best ones.
no. Don't try and
So,
take the universe on, right? Don't think you
no,
know better. That's your human ego, right?
that's right.
Hmm.
That's right. And it works for, learning to let the universe be the guide works in everything.
Yes.
There's really no aspect of life that truth, that model of living doesn't feed
No,
properly. It's just the matter of how clear can we be in the moment.
exactly. Now, I know that some people have said to me, but if you let the universe guide you and tell you everything to do, where is your, your
Free will.
free will? And it's like you actually understand what free will is
Hmm.
even more. And unless you are willing to go there and do that, you don't quite understand that. But
That's
it
correct.
it is that I am more me. I have more free will. I
Hmm.
have a better understanding of why and what I should do because the universe is at one
That's right.
with me. I'm not abstaining from being me. I am more abundantly me with the universe within me.
That's right. And I'm connected to my soul, to my
Yeah.
source, to my spirit in such a way that the choices I am making
Yeah.
are more refined.
Yes.
And that's the other thing, is if you want to do something, no one's going to stop you.
No.
Now, there is a long way around.
Yes.
Sometimes your choices lead you that way, and that's exactly perfect as well.
Right, because that's it's what you meant to gather along the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter whether it's A or B. There's
Mm-mm.
always choice. Free will
Yes.
always exists. The differentiation for me has been being able to be aware of when my soul made a
Hmm.
choice in the
Hmm.
planning stage
Yes.
versus the version that I'm facing at the moment as my choice.
Right.
And as you start to practice living in flow, in spirit, in resonance, those differentiations you're able to observe. You're able to see when this feels, and you're able to feel in the
Yes.
body when it's a core yes.
Mm.
My soul knows this, I'm comfortable, versus this version of you that's choosing this particular route to play a particular scenario, to learn a particular lesson.
Yeah.
Either of them work.
Yeah,
And
they do.
that's the joy. I heard I don't know if you're familiar with Lee Harris, but I listened to, he's a channel of the Z's, and one time I'll never forget, the Z's as they were speaking said, you humans need to take it easy on yourself.
I know. Yes. Yes, I have
And
Christina Hill that does that.
that resonated so strongly
Yes.
for me, because I found that I was one of those humans that
Mhm.
felt the need to get things right. And that freedom
Yeah.
of that needing to be right, the coulda,
Hmm.
shoulda, wouldas in life
Yes.
being removed,
Yes.
created a whole new power for the navigation forward, a whole new
Yeah.
rudder on the ship, so to speak.
It's not about what's humanly right, it's what's spiritually right. All right. And
Mm-hmm.
when you come from that compass, you know that we're all here in service of one another. And we're all
Mm-hmm.
here given a beautiful instrument to learn how to play. And we can play as a soloist. But when we join an orchestra, each of us in our strengths, we transcend with the harmony that we do in coming together. But we've got to know our own instrument first. And we've got to be true to that. I love interviewing musicians because they're already in their heart and soul. They already
Mm-hmm.
know who and why and what they are, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're just navigating through life in order to keep playing the music. But the music is their instrument, literally. What's our
Mm-hmm.
instrument? This whole network is called self-discovery wisdom. And it's actually self-discovery of your wisdom. It's too long. So we're in discovery of what wisdom is. Where does wisdom come from? And how do we use our knowledge wisely in order to benefit ourselves and to benefit others? The journey in discovering that sometimes is a rocky one, but during that period, you find your courage, you find your strength, you discover your abilities, you realize how all beautifully flawsome you are, because our flaws filled up with love are even stronger. That's how unique you are. But also how much you can see what you are here to do.
Mm-hmm.
That you've got to be
And
willing to
that's
take that journey.
and that's a very profound journey, especially for people who maybe came from anybody who's come from a
Oh,
do
yes. Oh, you gotta. Yeah, you
or you
gotta.
gotta, or you
Yeah.
should, or
Yes.
one of the things that opened up for me was learning that self-care is one of my most important
Yes. Hmm.
aspects of my life. And that was really hard for someone who
Hmm.
came from a field in which everything, as a person, I was taught to sacrifice who I
Yes.
was for everyone else,
Uh-huh.
for my God first.
Which is the religious way. Yeah.
That's how
Hmm.
they start you.
Hmm.
And then it's, it's the male, the male female. And there were so many aspects of that we are templated into,
Hmm.
that when you start to allow yourself to wake up to, one of my jobs is to care
Yes.
for myself
Exactly.
first.
What good are you to anyone else if you're depleted?
That's right.
Huh?
And now the volume goes up exponentially.
Exactly. Exactly.
The ability to serve others goes up
Yeah.
exponentially. The joy you get from serving
Mm.
others
Mm.
goes up exponentially. It's like all of life becomes more vibrant.
Yes.
All of your awareness colors become
Hmm.
deeper in your travels.
Yeah.
I'll never forget one day when we sold the house and we're getting ready to leave and everything is packed up, and I'm driving along and I'm like, it was the season where there was still snow on the mountain, and then there was green in the on the grass, and it all came together in this perfect moment where my heart just immediately was full, was open.
saying
And I'm
you're on the
like,
right track.
does anybody else see what I'm seeing?
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you have these moments in life
mm,
where it's like, is anybody else
yeah,
looking at what I'm looking at?
yeah.
Because it's so profound and so magical and so heart driven. And that is the goal, is how do you help people stop being in their head and learn to be in their heart? Well, it's by you learning to be in your heart.
Yes. And the thing is, we have no control. It's like with these shows, when they're out there, I have no control who listens, how they listen, or what they do with it. My motto is listen, learn, and apply. But
Mm-hmm.
you're going to listen what you're meant to hear. You're going to learn what you need to learn, and you're going to apply it in a way that is for you.
That's right.
It's out of my control. I have no control over it whatsoever. And that's okay, right? This is my service to put out there to share your wisdom, your ability, your coaching out there for somebody who resonates with, I hear her, I'm on that journey. How does she do it? I want to know more. How can I do that? And if they resonate, then they reach out, right? But
That's
we
right.
have no control. And I think that's one of the big things that I realized was I don't need to have control.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to have approval. I don't need to have others validating. All I
Mm-hmm.
have to be is be honestly true to who I am. And if I'm not somebody's cup of tea, that's fine. I'll be somebody's strong cup of coffee,
There
right?
you go. Exactly right. And
And
that
it takes
is,
so much burden off you, doesn't it?
it does. It, and that's what everybody's looking for.
Yes.
Everybody's, if you layer on, if you pull the layers of the onion apart,
Mm.
everybody's looking for freedom
Yes.
in some form that only love can give.
Yeah.
And if you let that be your driver, everything you touch, everything you do, if it serves you, it's at least served one person on the planet, and how it affects everybody else ends up being the gift that they turn it into.
Right. And if you only serve one person, that person serves another person. It's a ripple effect. And the thing is,
Mm-hmm.
when you're around people, you go, I don't know what's different. Have you done your hair different? Or
Mm-hmm.
there's something different about you. I don't quite know what it is.
That's
And
right.
and they go, I like it. And what have you done? You've just elevated them.
That's right.
They take that elevation and they go, maybe they can sustain it, maybe not, or maybe it's like,
Mm-hmm.
well, it's like when Harry met Sally, I'll have what she's having, you know, right?
Exactly.
And it's like, if you're around people that aren't living in their hype, they are not living in their sugar high, they're not living,
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy, but I am
Mm-mm.
happy,
Mm-hmm.
and you feel it,
Mm-hmm.
ask them how they did it. Because
Perfect.
their inspiration is the invitation. You're so inspired by their peace. This is the beauty of happiness. It's in peace, it's in
That's
love
right.
and peace. And if you're around people like that, ask them how and be willing to take the journey. Because I promise you, these waters are so much better.
So much better. And that's it. Just ask. You'll find
Mm,
the answer.
yes. We're,
You
we're
have to
not
unlock
willing
the
to
door.
ask because
That's right.
oh, well, I don't know. If I don't understand it, it's like I never understand this. Oh, you've got to actually understand what to ask the mechanic. What's why I have to go and get a degree in mechanics to go and understand, or a plumber or a doctor. That's what
Mm-hmm.
they have done. I've got to give them the problem. It's their skill to know what the problem is and how to resolve it, right? I can take some accountability to listen to what they're saying to me and ask questions if I don't understand for them to clarify. Yes, but it doesn't mean you have to know everything. And you're not making a fool out of yourself because you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you
That's right.
expect to know? So I think a lot of the time people are scared to move forward because, well, what will people think? How will people see me? And it's like,
That's right.
why do you care that you need that validation so much that you're willing to sacrifice yourself to
That's right.
appear as somebody else?
And that's the thing. It's our journey here, our job, if you
Mm,
will, is to learn who we are,
yeah.
to be able to see who we are clearly so we can be who we are. That's
Yes,
it.
that's it. And we're
That's
enough.
We are enough.
The gift to who we are is enough. We're each one of those instruments. It doesn't mean that we have to be the soloist all the time. We may just be the triangle. We are enough. Our gift is enough. And it will be a gift to you when you're open and ready to receive.
And here's the magic of it all. We're enough even when we're not thinking we're enough. We're
Exactly.
never unplugged from that.
No.
We're never not fully worthy, fully available, fully in connection. We're never not.
Yeah.
That version, even on a bad day, is still the true version of who we are. So
You
that's
know,
the magic of.
if you look at religion, I believe that well, I believe it's a form of control,
Mhm,
and it's a way of controlling the masses. But I believe that the intent of it by the philosophers, by the religious people, was for us to tap in.
mhm,
Or as to, and then it became, oh no, you can only get to God through me, and only if you pay this, and
mhm,
only if you do that, and only if you sacrifice that. And then people began to realize, hey, I have a direct channel.
mhm.
Right. And and it's a true and honest and pure channel. And it's not contaminated by conditions. The only condition is that you are true and honest with self, because then
Mhm.
you're true and honest with the universe.
That's right. And the scriptures are full. If you wanted
Mm.
to go that route and
Yeah.
relook at the scriptures,
Yes,
you will know the truth and the truth will set you free.
exactly.
It told us everything.
It did. We just
If we look at
misinterpreted
it with a
it. Yeah.
different filter, different
Yeah.
interpretation, honest truth,
Yes, exactly. The one thing about religion is the way that it brings people together, but
community.
it's been about you've got to go, or what will people think is you've got to go but for the sermon to tell you how to think next week. It's become a condition rather than a freedom. But when
That's
you
right.
have people come together, as you said, you found your vibe tribe, you found
Hmm.
your vibe family. And
Hmm.
in finding that community and in the sharing of each individual's love and harmony, and where everybody wants to see you excel, wants to see you grow, wants to see you become abundant, there isn't any jealousy because they're in their own abundance and they want the cup to run off over. Here, have some of my abundance, whatever
Hmm.
help you get there, right? And that vibe tribe is about the village being as strong as the village can because everybody in the village is looking out for each other.
That's right. And is that's why we chose to be here now,
Yeah.
because we are contributing to that earth, that new, beautiful,
Yes.
bold, gorgeous place that we all dream of being.
Yeah.
Because in our soul, well, there is no separation, is there?
No.
So we're all looking to make it the place that we dream of. And
Now
it's a reality.
you've taken radical changes in your life, walked away from the religion, walked away from family. That's a hard one to do. Walked away from corporate, walked away from home and security on your quest, and your journey to your soul meaningful purpose. Um, and so you are an inspiration of she's not in lack. She's in abundance. She's in enrichment because she has everything she needs within her. And anything out the external is just a little icing on the cake, but the abundance is within her, and that we can let go. And I don't know about you, but certainly in nearly 12 years of doing this and thousands of shows that I've done, I am seeing so much more of people walking away from that conditional societal expectation life,
Mm-hmm.
and moving forward to there's got to be more meaning to life. There's got to be more meaning to my life. And they're stepping into that soul heart service and
Mm-hmm.
feeling more enriched and abundant than they ever have. So they've elevated the frequency, they've elevated the vibration up to a higher love, and they have become the healers of the
Mm.
planet. We don't see this on CNN or Fox News or anywhere else in there because they, fear sells. It keeps people in control.
That's
But
right.
when we know that that finger you're pointing, blaming everyone else, there's three pointing back at you.
Mm-hmm.
Accountability, responsibility, where's your action? It all lies within you.
That's
If
right.
we want to heal the world and we want
We
to
heal
stop the
ourselves.
wars, heal yourself. That's
That's
where it
right.
starts. And I don't know about you, but I'm seeing a great deal more of that. Are you finding that in
Absolutely.
your journey?
Absolutely. It's funny because the people that I seem to be pulled to now,
Mm-hmm.
I, I didn't expect this when we
Mm-hmm.
sold our house. I kind of originally knew what was happening and what our little plan was. All of a sudden, I keep getting transplanted into people's community and environment. in which they just need to see that this is possible,
Yes.
because it, there's an energy exchange that happens every time we enter a room. We know this.
Yes.
But to see something that is permission,
Mm-hmm.
just not to live by those rules,
Mm-hmm.
and to experience me as a real person.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not, I'm a 51-year-old mother of two who are now empty nesters,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm as normal. We bake bread. I made banana bread this morning. I'm as normal as
Oh, can I
anybody.
have a slice?
But to be transplanted,
Mm,
whether it be to a client's home for several months, whether it be to a small community, we keep being moved to places where
you're needed.
we're needed.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm noticing, like you said, is people are like,
Mm.
I
Hungry.
need I need it to be
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
I need it to be different. And thankfully, honestly, it's this millennial group that says, I'll give you a perfect example. I went to my hairdresser. I haven't had my hair cut in probably 2.5 years. So I went to my friend's hairdresser, was getting my hair done, knew that there was an energetic reason to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Magical exchange
Mm-hmm.
happened. And he told the story of his son, who's in his 20s. And his son is a classic millennial, and said, was telling him about his work. And he works 2 nights a week as a bartender. He pays all his bills. He saves money. He has a full, rich experience of life. He's got a lot of downtime, time to spend with himself. And my friend, the stylist, this had asked his son, because in him he felt that,
Mm-hmm.
well, why don't you go get another job?
Mm-hmm.
And the son looked at him and said, why would I do that?
Exactly.
And that's the beauty
Uh-huh.
of anytime something comes onto the planet
Yeah.
as a very loud call.
Mm-hmm.
I have my judgy self still is a little bit in there and comes up with because I had a millennial or
Mm-hmm.
two that
Mm-hmm.
made it a little difficult and challenging in the learning process. But what I've come to realize is anytime we see these big waves,
Mm-hmm.
it's here to teach us something.
Yes.
And what we are disconnecting from is by far more important than
Mm-hmm.
what we are marching towards.
Exactly.
Because once you disconnect from, then you ride.
Yeah.
There is no march.
No.
There's no need to march.
Float.
Somebody told me the hard part isn't being in the water and flowing. It's grabbing onto the side trying to stop flow.
Yes.
That's when we drown.
Yes.
But if we just flip on our back
Mm-hmm.
and allow the current to move
Yeah.
us where we're supposed to be, every part of the journey is magic.
Absolutely. Again, nearly 6 years ago, the universe gave me a saying, and this was just before COVID. The universe is going to shake us up, to wake us up, for us to step up and change it up and grow up. Double entendre on the grow up vibrationally, but grow up,
Yes,
right?
I
We
agree.
become such whiners. And,
Oh,
and, and instead of looking at all the gifts that we have and the gift that we are, all we're doing is focus on what we don't have. And you don't need that anyway. That's not going to make you happy. So why are you whining about it?
correct.
So
Let it
we're
go.
still in the shake up. We're still in the step up.
We
Many
are.
people are already changing it up. Many people have already vibrationally grown up, which is exactly around the time period that you did. And the beauty of it is that some people are still being shaken. And at this point, the third dimensionalists, if they have not been shaken enough to step up and, change it up, then unfortunately they're going to be where they are.
That's
And
right.
you can only help people that are willing to take the journey and say, out of free will, I need your help to get further on to the change. I'm willing to stand up for my life. You can't help them
That's
until
right.
they're ready. But we're in, that shaking up is still happening, but people are landing where they're meant to be.
Yes.
And that's the
Yes.
beauty of it, is that we're seeing the greener pastures are beneath our feet.
That's
We're
right.
seeing that everything that's happening in this world is the change is necessary. Have you ever read Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Prime example of change. Two mice, two
Hmm.
men around abundant of cheese. The cheese is gone one day. And the
Hmm.
reaction. And you've got the one character, Ham, who only wants to sue, kill, or anything, give me back my cheese. And rather go hungry. They're going sussing out more cheese. Right. And that's where I feel the third dimensioners are right now.
Hmm.
They don't
Agree.
realize it is an invitation to grow.
That's
And
right.
instead, it's like just give. This is where we're seeing it in politics, we're seeing it in religion. I called it the handmaiden's tale syndrome, where they're
Hmm.
trying to send everything backwards. And my thing to them is resistance is futile.
That's right.
The currency of new vibration, of loving vibration, is already in flow. You either get on the bandwagon and ride this beautiful wave and become a
Hmm.
part of it, or you will get left behind.
Right. We've been using language that something's coming. Well, no,
Yes,
we're
yes,
in it.
yes, we're
It's
in
no,
it.
it's not coming. It's
It's there.
here. And there will be a division. I mean, there will be a division. There
There
will
is
be
a
those
division. We're
who,
seeing that very clearly.
yeah,
Yeah,
the differentiation of those who want to stay in the 3D because that's where they're comfortable.
yeah.
And there's no judgment on it.
No.
That is absolutely fine. But the 5D is active. It doesn't come and
Uh-huh.
go like it
No,
used
no,
to. It's
no.
here.
Yes. It's yeah, with the from 2012, the 4D became the bridge for people to
That's
step
right.
up into the 5D. And I said all along that at some point the bridge 4D to 3D is going to break away. And if you're
Hmm.
not on the bridge, and I feel that is already happening. And this is why we're hearing the resistance so much more. This is why we're seeing more wars and more this and more that, because they already know in the heart and soul they weren't
That's
on the
right.
bridge. So they're trying to hold on to the edge of the river
That's right.
and
That's right.
surrender. The beauty of exploration, the beauty of trusting the universe, the beauty of knowing your knowingness is in that surrender, in that allowing. All right.
Hmm.
And you will come to the bank that you're meant to be at when you're meant to be at it, meeting the people you're meant to meet. And if we could just live in that wonderment, in
Hmm.
that exploration of, where am I meant to be today? Who am I meant to be speaking to today? What
That's right.
illumination is out there today? And look at life as the gift that it is and the
Hmm.
gift that we are,
Hmm.
then we are going to, be that beautiful light that shines bright that others will be attracted to.
Absolutely. And that's the art of the daily practice.
Mhm.
What was it's so funny to me that what was a foreign concept,
Mhm.
like all of a sudden you realize this is my new normal. This is my new reality. And you don't really know when it fully shifted.
Yes.
You remember the first time a thought came to you, and then you put into practice a few things that allow you to experience that as your new normal. And then all of a sudden you wake up one day and it's like you're just in that new place
Yeah.
with that new spirit of joy and fullness and unconditional love. And all you do then is just continue to
Yeah.
be and see how many other people want to navigate that. And you will find those who get super curious too because
Yes.
you've just made curiosity okay.
Exactly. I was born this way, and probably up into my early 20s, I was this free spirit. He's like, when are you going to settle down? When are you going to get a real job? When are you going to do this? And I was just this free spirit. And my daughter, who's turning 41, is that spirit. She is that. Um, and then I kind of married and married the wrong person, but to have the right children. I look at
That's
it
right.
that way. And then it became a discovery because I lost myself. A good 8 years, I lost
Hmm.
myself. I was the robotic management where everybody thought I was in control, but my heart and soul was disconnected.
Hmm.
The universe and I were just missing each other, and it was a
Hmm.
journey to come back out into that light, and to take back my life and to take back my spirit and ignite it again, and go. But no, this is me. Why am I apologizing? This is what I'm here to do. Why am I fearful of that? Why am I letting other people's own fear, own control dictate my purpose? I know what my purpose is. I need to step back into it. But the beauty of it is in this lifetime for me, because I've been here for quite a number of them, is that this is the lifetime, this is the time period where everything is with us to awaken.
Hmm.
Everything is there for us to awaken. There are no more forces pushing us back as there have been in the past history of a couple of thousand years. It's now behind our backs pushing us forward. Just lift up your feet and let yourself
Hmm.
go.
Hmm. I wholeheartedly agree with that. What used to be efforting,
Mm-hmm.
we don't have to effort.
No.
And that is liberation at a
Oh,
whole different level.
the
Yeah.
deep breath, right?
The deep breath.
So
Such a joy.
so wherever you are right now, it doesn't matter because as you said, you kind of land where you're meant to be,
Hmm.
helping the people you're meant to be. Um, so if somebody says, I want you to come and live in my community for a while and help my family, help my community, is that
Hmm.
something you and your husband will do?
Absolutely. We are allowing he's a musician
Hmm.
and he's written some really powerful music. He's very much a channel
Mm.
who when he sits to write, it comes in such an otherworldly way
You know, he's
that
got to come on. I've got the For Love of Music channel. He's got to come on.
right. Actually, you've met Gino. He came on and did a
Oh,
show with
Gino, that's your
you.
husband.
That's my
Right, of
husband.
course, of course, of course it is. Yes, and yes, a wonderful soul.
Yes.
Yes, of course. Sorry,
So we've been
I'm
following,
disconnected there.
no worries. So we've been following where quote unquote music has
Yes.
taken, but what he has agreed is whenever the universe pops us up for a cause that isn't related to music, he can do his music remotely, I can do what I do
Yeah,
remotely, or we can do it in presence and proximity. So we've been very open to where
you
the
need to go.
biggest
Yeah.
moves need to take
And of
us.
course, you did the beautiful song about change and that change is here and embracing the change. And yes, but that's the thing about a musician. When a musician is coming up and the record label gets them and starts dictating what they should play, where they should play, they lose their artistry. But
Mhm.
when they truly are allowed to be who they are, then they they meld with the audience, then they bring their beautiful divine energy with the audience, and everybody, again, transcends up into a higher vibration. Music is such an incredible igniter, an incredible healer,
Abs-
and a beautiful gift because there's virtually nobody out there that doesn't like music. And it is, if we allow music into our hearts, it speaks to us in a way that sometimes our stupid intellect gets in the way,
that's
right?
right. It removes the barrier.
It removes the barrier completely. Yes. So, of course, on your show banner will be Gino's and vice versa. Please go and listen to
Mhm.
Gino's. Go to For Love of Music genre, and you'll see his song and his show up there with me. So I'm sorry, Ace, I forgot to make the connection.
That is quite all right.
Too much in the now. But yeah, but that's that's one of the reasons why I had the beautiful Joe Coleman from the Planters. He's been in the industry for 50 years, and I had him on
Hmm.
this last week, and he's we went more in depth of his actual journey. And he was saying, I don't know this happened to Junior because I don't think he's not in that age bracket, but disco came up. And then, it was cheaper to pay a DJ for disco
Hmm.
rather than have live musicians. And so he just went overseas where people were still hungry for the connection.
Hmm.
And then disco is like, well, hang on, I really want to see the performer perform. I need
Hmm.
that connection, right? And then it came back with floodgates again. And so I never look at something as being an end. It's a redirect for a moment, right? Until the winds, like Mary Poppins, blows you into another direction,
Exactly.
right? So
Exactly. It's an
just
education. It's an
yes,
education. Things happen and it's not just, sometimes it's an individual, our
mm,
individual education, and sometimes it's a collective
yeah,
education. There's periods in our evolution where you look at what happened after COVID and
yeah,
people being like, wait, I can work from home. I can have work-life
yes,
balance. These are gifts.
yes,
Yes, they challenge
yes.
us.
It was
They
a
ask us
review, renew, redirect. Yeah, absolutely.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. And that's like to your point about the gentleman who sang with the planners. It's
Hmm.
like that allowed us to see what is it that we
Yeah,
really need. And then because we've experienced the same thing with Gino's music.
yes.
Sometimes it's about what he does in person, you just can't duplicate. It's
Exactly.
unbelievable.
Exactly. Because is that, I mean, we can get it in the vibe in which he records the music and we play, we connect with that vibe and how that vibe
Hmm.
resonates with us. But when you're actually with the person, right?
Hmm.
It is in the moment, the two vibes, the two beautiful energies are dancing together.
Co-creation at
My
its
mother was a
best.
stage actress, and whenever she did had to do radio shows, I had to be in the booth with her and mime because she needed an audience, uh, and they wrote a whole TV thing for her, but my father wouldn't let her do it. But stage was her thing, and she said, I said, don't you get tired doing the same thing overnight? She's different every night because it's a different audience, a different energy,
That's
right? And
right.
so a different performance every night, and that's the thing with a musician. You're going to get a different audience, and that's exciting because they're going to
Hmm.
take you on a journey that you didn't know, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's co-creation at its
yeah,
best.
absolutely. That's what we're meant to do. Our souls are meant to dance together. Our
Hmm.
hearts are meant to merge together. Our spirits are meant to fly together.
Hmm.
We've got this stupid intellect thing that's in there. So you got to be this and you got to be that. For God's sake, pick that up, put it in a box, and just throw it over there, because it's not who you're meant to be. Societal's dictation of who you are, what makes you important, what makes you validated, what makes you exist is a whole load of codswallop. And this is the reason why we have so much dysfunction in
That's
society
right.
today. When you truly step into the essence and the presence of who you are, then you actually are truly the gift to society. And it just ignites everybody into the right direction.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that when I was in corporate America, one of the things that we committed to was letting 20% of everybody's work week be something that they were passionate about.
Mm,
Because people have to be able to access their passions to remember why they're here, to
yes.
unlock the piece of themselves, the authentic version of themselves that can actually transform the planet.
And
And that's what we need to do.
actually to be happy, because when
That's
you're
right.
happy, you're contagious, right?
That's right.
That's the beauty of it. So, yes, so Gino, Time for Change song, we've got to listen to that, um, and just let that flow, which is beautiful. And how do people get hold of you, Han? Um,
So, the work I've been doing, I have been in executive coaching, like I said, and now I'm also a Reiki practitioner. So I have many facets that I bring to the table. I've done hypnosis, I've done neurolinguistic programming. So the way people reach me, if they're just curious, is through if they want to follow me before they make contact, they can reach me at a different normal is the
mm,
handle on Facebook. It's where I write about the processes that I invite into people's lives. And there you can also private message me and I will get back with you right away. I also have an email. It's mydifferentnormal@gmail.com that I can be reached at for some direct dialogue and contact. And that way I can reach out to you and we can set up something just to explore what a
right.
conversation might look like.
And you never know. I mean, the thing is, how many people are willing to kind of uproot wherever they are and go where they're needed for whatever period of time and give their service to people? This is, something that used to happen, but then, then it'd all be, picket fence, two, two kids and all of that type of thing. And that was meant to be the norm. The gift of both of you right now is wherever the Mary Poppins dial turns you is where you're going to go. And Mary Poppins was never meant to be there for long. She was there to ignite everybody into the importance of family, right?
That's
And
right.
you're there to ignite the heart and soul and spirits of people, to become who they're meant to be, and then off you go with your little carpet bag or somewhere
Well,
else.
and that was the thing. Source told me very clearly, you will be invited into places and communities and homes
Hmm.
in which there will be a ripple effect.
Yeah.
There will be a much more profound. So I can't organize that.
No, no. It will
I
come
just
to
have to
you.
allow it to
Yeah,
happen.
exactly. But that's the beauty of it again, isn't it? You don't know where you're
Hmm.
going to go. People, aren't you scared? You don't know where you're going to go. It's like the universe isn't going to send me in the wrong place,
No,
right? And even if I'm
no,
walking into a den of negativity, they invited me because they wish to switch, to
that's right.
choose positive living, not negative living. And so it's really, really important that we trust where we're sent. And sometimes I kind of, what the hell am I doing here?
That's
You
right.
talked about getting lost before. It's a repetitive thing with me of me going somewhere where I kind of didn't intend to be, or I got the wrong place and then ended up talking to someone that just
Hmm.
needed to hear something at the time, right? And
Absolutely.
but that allow that to happen. Are
Hmm.
you profound? No, I'm not profound. I'm just channeling profoundness. That's all.
That's right.
I'm just that
Well,
conduit. That's it. Right?
we can't even dream as big as the universe
No,
has planned. So why
no,
would we want to control it?
exactly. We limit ourselves if we try and control,
It's not my
right?
job.
Not your
That's
job.
right.
Your job is just to receive and share.
That's right.
Okay, that's what it's all about here. So, folks, please reach out because this is actually a very, very unique situation. My different normal at gmail.com, Facebook, a different normal, Instagram, a different normal. And just reach out and have that conversation because you never know. Maybe your community is one that's kind of needing them right now. And also, Gino's music, please listen to it. And can you imagine having them both in your community with him leading the heart and soul with the music and you then guiding them into attunement? A really great combination. So if you're ready, folks, open up your doors. They're here. They're ready. They're willing. That's what the universe has put them on this path to do. They're not meant to root right now. But their tree is rather like the hobbits, is quite willing to to use a walk. Then we just call them the Merry Poppiners right now. Pack up
There
the
we go.
carpet bag and off they go.
Sounds good to me.
I love it when people have embraced their redirection, that have truly opened up the heart and soul and spirits to where they're meant to be, to whom they're meant to be, and let everything else go. It does take courage. It really does. And it does take strength because you're giving up absolutely everything you know. But once you do get to that side, then you actually know 100 million% this is where I'm meant to be. And I haven't given up
Absolutely.
anything I've gained.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for being here. Say hi
Thank you,
to Gino
Sarah.
for me. Please,
I
folks, listen
will.
to Gino. It's on her show page. You'll find it there as well. And just, folks, please come on in. The waters are great. It's a fabulous feeling. It takes off so much weight off your shoulders. It's just like a breath of fresh air. You don't need to look at what's the meaning of life anymore. You're the meaning of life, right?
Amen.
Just become it, right? So, Merry Christmas to everyone, or whatever festive season you're in. Make sure it's one of joy, laughter, love, and peace. And let's bring that joy, love, and love and peace into 2024. So until next time, folks, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Just go to the podcast tab at the top there and you will see all the many genres and all 3,000 shows ready for your listening. We are here to serve you, to help you on your journey of life, and we know that through inspiration, it begets invitation. We are supported by you, the listeners, and those that we interview. Anything that you can spare us in donation would be greatly accepted, and we do hope that you enjoy the next show.